All right, everybody. Jim V here. Been a couple of months since I actually posted anything here in the first place, so finally getting to it. This is my new snake oil column for May and June of 2026. I'm going to read the column live for everybody, and notes and other information are available at the link. I'll put that in the comments section if you want to read my edited notes and things like that. But a lot of people like the live column read in this day and age. I tried posting on my Buy Me a Coffee site, but they're having some issues with the audio, so I'm gonna do this here. I would have done it here anyway. So okay, here we go. Let's dive in here. I need my glasses for this one. All right, so this column is called "Whose Side Are You On Anyway?" When I went to from a Catholic elementary school and began my 4 years of high school at a new public school in the ninth grade, I was made aware of something that was important that I should care about. There was a rival school that, for reasons I can't remember, we were supposed to hate. One Saturday in early spring, when it finally was getting warm on Long Island from a long winter, a few of my friends were on our bikes just hanging out in front of my house, joyfully doing nothing. I had an impulse to go inside and shower. For some reason, I just felt dirty. I told them I would be back out again in a half hour or so. When I finished my shower and returned, I saw two cop cars taking off. My friends excitedly filled me in on what I had missed. There was an altercation that started minutes after I went inside. One of our neighbors, who was a senior, got into an intense fight. A car from a rival school with two guys inside pulled up and lured him out of his home. I'm sure there was more to this ordeal, but it ended up in a fist fight and the cops were called. My friends were still excited about all the discord, but I honestly wasn't upset that I missed any of it. Even back then, I often went out of my way to avoid idiot people making commotions, fighting over silly things, and subjecting others to their energetic nonsense. It was also an early sign that my intuitive abilities were there to protect me. The impulse to shower thankfully helped me avoid what was on its way. There are positive sides to competitiveness. I do remember a fair amount of joy connected to things that involved competition in my early childhood. I loved playing board games, volleyball, wiffle ball, video games, all kinds of competitive things. I enjoy the adrenaline triggered by a competitive spirit. I frequently won many of the things I played at, especially card and board games. I thoroughly enjoyed playfully taunting my friends and family members when they were losing or lost. In my early 20s, I played racquetball and loved the trash talk that went on while we were at the gym. Still, this never was something I was excessive about. I was always aware that we were playing a game, and it was still just for fun. And my being extremely cruel was not something I did very often. Any remaining aspects of mean competitiveness were something that I mostly grew out of by my mid-20s. I did notice other people who would push the boundaries of fun and competitiveness into real cruelty, though. I would inevitably make a point of avoiding those types of individuals when they got too toxic. People that were really into sports teams, musical groups, political perspectives, and other areas of life that were heavy handed about taking sides or obnoxious about despising those not on their side became types of people I purposely avoided. Especially remember the disco sucks movement. I actually preferred pop and rock and roll during that era, but also did like some disco, often weakly pretending that I didn't. The ones who screamed loudly about how you should hate disco would torture you if you didn't side with them. Sadly, throughout my lifetime, I've seen so many people, full-grown adults, who seem to forever keep focused on seeing no gray areas in things they believe to be correct and spewing out verbal venom. Before the internet and social media, there were limits to saying things you disagreed with. You'd run the risk of saying it right to other people's faces, or, at best, send it in a magazine or newspaper column letter. This had the potential of actual consequences for getting into someone's face because you couldn't hide behind a phone or a computer. Unfortunately, the last 20 years, and notably ramping up in the last 10 years or so, this theme of absolutely hating anyone on your side has grown exponentially. This would be one of the negative sides of social media. While it's great that social media brings the collective together from all over the world with an opportunity to share unique points of view and ideas, the negative volume has been turned up far too high. I saw this during COVID with pro-vaccine versus anti-vaccine perspectives, and so many layers of viciousness and fear connected with different aspects of that insane comply or else period of our history. More recently, even more anti-LGBT perspectives and extremes from both sides of that equation have ramped up. The searching for scapegoats that cause all of society's ills is seemingly never ending. Religious intolerance for those who prioritize religious faith has gotten louder. This is also demonstrated in the other direction, with pious religious people also angry with non-believers who don't follow their way. So the most notable area of this is politics. The obsessive taking of sides on right and left perspectives is currently very explosive. It's now more clear than ever that many social media posts, especially Facebook, are actually bots or people just trying to bait anger from the other side. Many of these posts are truly ridiculous. Anger posts are heavily invested in getting a rise out of the bad ones, not on your side. The tactic is to get people to comment. This drives algorithms to get one's post to be seen even more, and many are literally banking on this. Good or bad comments and interaction in general make the creators actual money. Part of evolving and growing as a human being is ideally learning about how not to be reactive and not to take what other people do or say so personally. Wisdom includes realizing that we are supposed to recognize that we share the world together collectively and to focus more on what unites us versus what separates us. We hopefully learn to stop petty thievery, often a rite of passage for young people, cheating on girlfriends and boyfriends, spreading gossip, perpetual lying or slander, and other childish, low vibrational aspects of human behavior. We're supposed to be mature and evolve and recognize when things like obsessive jealousy and possessiveness and retaliation are not good things. Listen, it's okay to briefly think about doing something to get back at someone that may have pissed us off. Actually acting on it's another thing entirely. Wisdom is rightly connected to being able to observe past mistakes, childish behaviors, and to not repeat them. Reaching the point in adulthood of being able to comfortably say, I would never do that again, is something to be proud of. I understand why people prefer leaning right or left politically. Very few of us, though, are actually completely 100% conservative or liberal. One may be conservative but feel women have a right to body autonomy and choice. Left-leaning people who want equal rights for all may be fiscally conservative. When I see someone who's completely loyal to every aspect of one's side, I honestly think they're a bit nuts. Still, I will stand up for the right to be that nutty as long as it doesn't actually hurt other people. I also tend to step away from such extremes with the philosophy of do it anywhere but near me, though. There are still people who believe that being gay or bisexual is wrong and that being straight is the only right way to be, which of course is absolute nonsense. I still occasionally see people on social media talking about good or bad races. Years ago, I remember Cher on a talk show suggesting to a mostly female audience that who needs men anyway? To hysterical laughs and nods of agreement from most of the female audience all around her. The childish idea that one sex is better than another trope still plays far too often. I also have known many men who are physically attracted to women but think they are less than men in intelligence or value. All of these things and many others are examples of this limited thinking and honestly kind of idiotic perspectives. Still, I don't yell at people for believing what they believe. I recently saw a far left-leaning friend on Instagram who proclaimed that if you're a centrist, you are invisible and making the world a worse place because of your weakness for not taking sides more loudly. Yeah, we need more people on opposite sides yelling at each other right now. That'll fix things. I noticed the obvious sarcasm in my last statement. Listen, having opinions about what you believe to be right or wrong, liking or not liking political candidates, current politicians, sports teams, celebrities, and even what type of people you find appealing or attractive are necessary parts of having healthy human discernment. We absolutely have the right and need to carve out what we want around us and who we choose to support. There are times when it is completely okay to share what we feel or believe, and yet some of the things that people actually believe are mind-numbing. But personally screaming, name-calling, demonizing those that don't agree, and attacks on who you believe to be the bad ones because they don't see your way is part of why the world seems so much more volatile than ever before. And has yelling and name-calling of anyone ever been a successful catalyst for changing anyone's perspectives? The stubborn, and this is the most common fear or chief negative feature out of the 7 human beings develop. This is Michael teaching stuff here. The stubborn tend to dig their heels in deeper when confronted. Thankfully, verbal ugliness and a lack of respect for diversity inevitably becomes more obvious and unappealing as people evolve. And contrary to what we may see around us currently, it is on its way out, or at least beginning to decrease. As we evolve and progress further into the age of Aquarius, this is also the move into the mature soul consciousness as well. More people will begin to find this lower energy less appealing, but as often is the case, things like this can take some time to shift. Okay, so I wrote this actually at the beginning of May, put it together in the last couple of weeks, so yeah, I stand behind this fully, And I'm sure a lot of you will agree, some will not, and that's of course okay as well too. Again, if you want information about booking personal sessions and my books and things like that, you can check out my links here over at YouTube. And a happy almost start to the summer, everybody. Cheers.